Hi Cancer, how are we today? Just doing our weekly readings, just checking in on you and seeing how everything is looking for your week. We will do a few cards in regard to love as well, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you do get the notifications about all the uploads. We do upload pretty regularly here, and every month we do have that shadow work reading on the full moons as well. So definitely make sure you've got your notifications on so you get updated about that. Also, feel free to leave me a comment if there's any specific topics you would like me to do a reading on, and I'm definitely able to take that into consideration. All right, but today we are using quite a few decks here. We've got the Cosmic Messages Oracle. I do have the Egyptian Oracle here and the Sweet Love Tea Love Oracle that we will be using today. And then clarifying everything today, Cancer, I am using the Lunar Lenormand. All right, so getting into it for you, Cancer, starting off with your affirmation message. Cancer, what does Cancer need to know right now? Affirmation message for Cancer, please. Okay, say goodbye to your past and leave the baggage behind for good. All right, so it's time to, allow that to leave. That you've dealt with these things in the past more than you give yourself credit for, Cancer. It's time to, let go of that baggage and stop bringing it back up out at yourself. I feel like a lot of you hold things from the past against yourself, and it's like, well, if that never have happened, then I would never be like this, and da da da. But it's time to let go. It's time to let go, Cancer. I'm sort of picking up a message here of it's not necessarily about you, Cancer, but it's kind of a message of, because we all know somebody who you may have known them for a very long time, and every time you see them, they bring up things that happened to them when they were a child, or that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and that's all that you ever hear is the same stories over and over and over again, and it's kind of like that, woe is me, I'm the victim. This happened to me when I was a child, so therefore, everything in my life is effed. And we all know people like that, but then we all know people that, you know, they may have had, the exact same stuff happen to them as a child, but they don't talk about it all the time. What they've done is they've gone to therapy, they've talked about it, they dealt with it at some point in their life, they healed from that and chose to move forward. And so when you see them, they're talking about current affairs, they're talking about what's going on in their life right now. They're not talking about, woe is me, I'm the victim from things that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago. So we all know people like that. And I feel like this is kind of wanting you to know that this is why you're saying goodbye to your past, because you don't want to be like them. Those people that you see around that are stuck in versions of themselves from 10, 20 years ago. You don't want to be like that, Cancer. You want to continue being the best version of yourself that you can be. You want to keep moving forward. So this is why it's kind of like, this is why it's important to, deal with my stuff. Yeah, I've got some ish. Certain things I need to deal with that. Once I've dealt with that, then I can let go of that. And I accept that happened. I accept that, I've done what I need to do to move on from that and to let go of that and not have that be, the totality of my world. That, I'm not waking up every day bringing up something from 10 years ago. Because when you do that, when you wake up and you say, oh, 10 years ago, this happened, you're making it your present. It's no longer just your past. You're making it your present as well. And you're still living in that same energy. You're allowing it to have power over you. Those things that hurt you 10 years ago, you're allowing it to have power over you in the present and possibly the future as well, if you're bringing that back up to yourself every single day. So it just feels like a very important to sort of talk about that there, Cancer. Okay, Cancer. What's going on for Cancer this week? What does Cancer need to know right now? Cancer. What does Cancer need to know this week? Ooh, the boat energy. Take time to appreciate the journey of spiritual awakening unfolding in your life. So, you know, yeah, this is how we say goodbye to the past. This is exactly how we say goodbye to the past, Cancer. That, we slow down and we take time to appreciate that's not who I am anymore. That's not in my life anymore. I've actually come further than that. I've done this and I've done that and I've done this in order to move past those things, in order to let go of the past and become a different version of myself. I've done my work. I've been doing my work, and I'm willing to do the work to continue to be better versions of myself. So this is slowing down and appreciating all the things that have happened between those things that are trying to hold you back in the past and now. Because we've all had things happen in the last, since our last big trauma. All right. I think we're in that day and age where nearly everybody can recognize that we have had some sort of significant trauma in our lives. So regardless of how big that is, because trauma is trauma, regardless of what that trauma was, what that big, you cannot compare your trauma to somebody else's trauma. My biggest trauma from when I was a child may be very, very different to your biggest trauma. And do you know what? For somebody who has minimal trauma in their lives, certain things are going to be more traumatic to them that other people may not see as traumatic. All right. So, you know, just as an example, I'm not gonna lie and say that I've not been through some pretty crazy, hectic, full-on trauma, but also in the same sense, something happened to me when I was younger that is actually one of my traumas that it does not, on the surface, sound anywhere on the same level as my other traumas. Okay, so I've been someone that's been through a lot of, you know, pretty much everything, guys. I'm not going to lie. But, so to compare some of my past childhood traumas from, abuse. And then this one thing that happened when I was a teenager, somebody that I trusted and, I thought was a friend, put bubblegum in my hair, squished bubblegum in my hair, and I had to chop off a big chunk of my hair. Um, that was actually one of my, core memories because it did have, there was underlying stuff that connected to that as well, of course, but um, on the surface, that does not sound anything like on the same level as, abusive trauma. But to me, it was just as significant. Obviously, it was not, physically as significant as, but the example being that, sometimes we don't understand the way that trauma is perceived by others, that the way that settled in me and the way that affected me, it was trauma just as much as some of the other trauma that I've been through. Okay, and obviously, like I said, not comparing those traumas whatsoever. They're totally different. We all kind of know that abusive trauma is so much more significant than bubblegum in your hair, but it was a traumatic experience for me. And, to this day, I will never forgive that girl. Not going to lie. I will never, she's still, we've still got mutual friends. And I will never forgive that. Ever. And, that's my ish, guys. But, stopping and realizing how far you've come between then and now is significant along the way, and understanding that, it's okay that you've had these traumas and that you've had, you know, everything that's happened between your traumas and now is part of the journey that is giving you opportunities to learn and develop and accept the past in order to move on and not allow those sorts of things to happen again in the future, and and to, and it's especially, I'm picking up here too on somebody that the traumas that you've been through in the past have actually inspired you so much to protect others and stop other people from going through the same things that you went through. And just that in itself is amazing. And why are you not slowing down and giving yourself credit for that journey that you've been through that has now enabled you to help so many other people around you, just by, talking about your own experiences and showing that there is life after trauma. You're not a victim, you're a survivor. Okay. But yeah, really, really paying attention to how much you're developing on a spiritual level, because it seems to be quite significant here. So I know this is getting quite deep, Cancer, but we'll move on and have a look and clarify that message though. What's going on for Cancer this week? What does Cancer need to know right now, please? There you go. One of the biggest, it's just wanting to talk about some of the good stuff about you, Cancer, and the things that you need to slow down and recognize about yourself, okay? Firstly, we have the moon and then the house. Okay, so all this stuff that you've been through in the past that you're now allowed to say goodbye to, that the past is no longer the present, and definitely not wanting to take that into the future either. But it has enabled you to have a lot of emotional stability within yourself, that, if you've gone through all those emotions in the past, you know now how to deal with that emotion. You know what that emotion feels like. You know what that emotion does in a physical way to you, and you know how to deal with that in a better way. You know how to not deal with that you may have dealt with in the past. You may have, lashed out and things like that, but you now know that. You know that other people may not have ever had that emotion and may not know how to deal with that emotion when they do experience it, whereas you now know that. So that is no longer it's no longer an emotion. It's a wisdom that you have. It's something that you have learned. You now understand that emotion. Okay, and it brings a level of emotional stability and security to you that you maybe don't even realize about yourself. That's part of who you are, and you understand those emotions, and therefore, when you see that emotion in somebody else, you can understand that and empathize with that. That you can be understanding and compassionate towards that emotion because you know that emotion like the back of your hand now. It also shows us that you have a very strong intuition here, Cancer. That is your card, the moon. So it's really showing us that you are the strength. You are the intuitive one. You are the stability for yourself, and that is huge. That is huge. That you are, you've opened up to a version of yourself that you maybe 20 years ago never thought would exist. Okay, and we do see abundance coming through for you as well, the fish. Okay, so we do see, financial security and stability coming towards you. A reason to really intuitively know whatever feels stable, and, the things that feel like home. I'm drawn to these things, and that's going to actually help me find financial security in the long run as well. So for some of you, I'm just picking up that there is a side message here for a couple of you that you're needing to put money towards the house this week. So for some of you, there may be the need to put a bit of extra money into the home this week, the physical home. Okay, so you may be, making sure where, because I'm picking up a few things here. Some of you, there's a piece of furniture that you need to buy this week. It unexpectedly breaks and then you need to replace it. Some of you, it's time to start putting that money into the renovations. And there is someone here as well that you've actually fallen a little bit behind in your rent without realizing it. So it's time to go over your rent and make sure that, just pay a little bit extra this week just to make sure that you're back on even with your rent as well. So that just a bit of a random side message there, Cancer. But we'll have a look at love and romance for you as well. Feels like emotionally this is a big week for you because it's kind of that energy of like, wow, I have actually become a different version of myself than I realized I have. And it kind of all of a sudden this week, it kind of hits home that I am not the past anymore. I am me now moving forward. I've come so far, and I don't know how I didn't even realize I had. Cancer. What's going on for Cancer this week with love and romance? What are the love and romance messages Cancer needs to hear this week, please? So this is quite interesting, very connected to the main message. We have control here. Okay, taking responsibility for both actions and emotions, stepping up and steering. So being in control of your own self, and knowing that you've actually come a lot further than you realize. Taking control of yourself and saying, that's it, I don't want the past to control me anymore. I'm taking control of my present and my future, and I'm not allowing the past to continue to influence me. I'm not allowing the past to be right here, right now with me in the room. I'm taking responsibility for my past actions and emotions, and I'm taking control of allowing my past to affect me in the present and the future. So a little bit back to that main message there. But we also see the love song card coming through for you here, Cancer. Let love's melody inspire your dance together, harmony, rhythm, and in sync. So I do feel like for a lot of you, whether you are, currently with someone in your love life or not, you are really, really sort of connected at a deeper level this week. There's a lot of, in sync moments. So even if you don't even know who this person is, it's like you both turn on the radio and hear the same song playing at the same time. And, you're both very, very, your lives may be matching up at the moment without you even realizing it. And it's kind of like, whatever's going on for you in your life, it's kind of going on for them too, but maybe in a slightly different way. But you're kind of like very, very in harmony with your soulmate at the moment. Regardless of whether this is someone who you know or not. And like I keep getting this message about actual music as well, the love song. We do see the musical notes there as well. Let love's melody inspire your dance together. It's kind of like someone's getting a song stuck in their head, and then you're coming along and you start singing that same song, and they're like, how did you know I was thinking that? And that kind of stuff at the moment. So there seems to be a strong connection with actual music as well, between you and this person. So if you're hearing a certain song continually, there is a little bit of extra meaning behind that at the moment, Cancer. It's significant to yourself and your person. This connection, it is significant to that connection. So I'm actually hearing that song, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. So that may be significant to some of you as well. Okay, love and romance for Cancer. Love and romance for Cancer, please. We have the fox, the letter, and the horse, the rider. Okay, so this is telling us that there is some sort of communication, some sort of expression directly on the way. The writer does talk about good news on the way, and this is communication. So we are seeing, paperwork on the way to you, a message on the way to you. In the next few days, there is like some sort of communication coming your way, some sort of expression that is coming your way, and it's coming from this fox energy. This fox energy is a lot of independence. So it's an independent message, a message about your independence. For some of you, it may be somebody with red hair. It may be someone who, I don't know, foxy, someone foxy is coming through here. The fox energy is associated with logical thinking, intelligence. So this is probably someone very intelligent. They act very independently. And that's where this love song energy is coming from. So the expression may be through that song. That may be the communication that you're getting. The expression that you're getting may be the song that you keep hearing. It's trying to sort of connect with this fox energy. Now, there's an element here of feeling like the fox has been playing games or is a bit of a player, but I don't feel as though that's the case. This is somebody who has been just trying to survive, just doing what they need to do to survive. They may be somebody who is very twisty with their words and can, they're kind of, what's that phrase? They can twist your words around on you and things like that. So I feel like a lot of you already know who that is, but just clarify, what's the communication expression from the fox for Cancer, please? The book, some sort of knowledge, some sort of understanding. Maybe that's what the expression is, that you're getting some sort of deeper understanding about the mystery of this fox. Foxes are very mysterious creatures, and this talks about the unknown, the things you don't know about that fox, the mystery of that fox. You're maybe learning a little bit more about that, or understanding a little bit more about that. I'm also picking up for some of you the expression, the communication from this fox is that they want to start a new chapter, that there's a new chapter forming here for you and the fox. So yeah, the fox is someone from the past, someone very formidable, someone maybe old-fashioned as well. Okay, and I've got the bear on the bottom of the deck here, Cancer. I'm sort of picking up a very strong message here for somebody with a Cancer moon. So if you're a Cancer moon and you're male and you know me personally, a lot of that message is for you. Okay, if your name starts with L, a lot of that message is for you. Okay, so that's what we have for you today, Cancer. You're more than welcome to subscribe as well as check your other placements, and I will see you all again soon.